Part 6. Last time on What If Naruto was neglected and left the village. Not far away several marine ships were approaching the smoking base. At the front of the lead ship stood a tall man, his coat hanging off his shoulders. A dark green fur collar poked out from the coat the man wore underneath the cape. There was also a Nanashikujit strapped to his back. The man took a deep breath before exhaling a large amount of smoke thanks to his dual cigars. His white hair is long, slicked back, and the sides have been cut short. He was also wearing sunglasses and had a scar that extended from his forehead to his right eye and tapered off to the side of his face. "Vice Admiral Smoker, sir," a female marine said, walking up to him. Her long black hair was now pinned up by a clip, with a pair of glasses resting on her bangs. Her figure was hourglass-like, and she was seen wearing a pink floral, blue button-down shirt, white pants, and black boots. She also wore a pink version of the standard coat. Strapped to her right hip was the sword Shijure. Shijure was a normal katana with a green handle and a guard with a slightly rounded, four-petaled design. The blade itself is normal, however its sheath is elaborate, with the first half being green and bumpy designed, the second half is wide and smooth. There are circular designs embedded on the entire sheath. "We have received word that the Straw Hats are on the bridge on the other side of the base," the woman said to one of the forward guns. "Tashigi, I'm over here," Smoker said, not looking behind him. Tashigi put her glasses on, blinked, and then turned to Smoker. "My apologies, Smoker-san. This wouldn't be a problem if you always wore your glasses. Anyway, reports also indicate that the Dynastones hidden in this base are set to explode in about 12 minutes. So we don't have enough time to evacuate the base and catch the Straw Hat," Smoker said, exhaling more smoke. "Send all ships into their docks and evacuate the base." "But sir," Fleet Admiral Sakazuki said. "I don't give a damn about what he said," Smoker said, turning around. "We are not just going to sit idly by and let all those men and women die. Now do what I ordered." "Yes sir," Tashigi saluted. Down in GX's lowest chamber, Luffy pushed a large piece of ceiling off himself. The rubber man was bleeding slightly after he and Grim fell through the floor. "What's this place?" Luffy wondered as he looked around. The entire room had its walls laced with multiple devices. Each one was a container containing a stone very familiar to Luffy, gray stones sitting in VATs of a light purple liquid. On the central device there was a counter reading 125973. "This is GX's secret chamber," Grim said, emerging from the rubble. The assassin brushed a small amount of dust and rubble off his suit jacket. "Only high-ranking members in the Navy government and Cypher Pole know of its existence." He reached up and loosened his tie. "I've seen these things before," Luffy said. Former Admiral Zephyr stole the Dynastones from their resting place in Furs Island's Navy base. He had planned to use them to destroy the endpoints in the New World in the process. Grim said, "But thanks to you pirate scum, he was stopped just in time for Admiral Kizaru and a marine platoon to arrive and finish him. After that close call, the government thought it would be wise to store the recaptured Dynastones here in GX's lowest chamber, guarded by their best assassins. Each one of us, except for the director, is as strong as a Marine HQ Vice Admiral. So it's like there are 8 Vice Admirals on this base. Say whatever you want, you guys aren't so tough," Luffy said, getting into a fighting stance. "My friends probably kicked your guys' asses. I drove a hole through your stomach and broke your back. You shouldn't be able to walk, let alone fight. All that? We have the world's best doctor on our crew, and I ate some meat and got over it." "Cocky little shit, aren't you?" Grim said, removing his jacket, shirt, tie and shoes. On his forearms, biceps, and abdomen were large red bands. "You talk too much," Luffy said. "Let's fight." "Be very afraid, Straw Hat," Grim said as his body began to grow even more. This time it donned the dark green scales, razor-sharp teeth, reptilian tail, claws and yellow eyes. "Only one other person has seen me at jet rifle." Luffy slammed his spinning black fist into Grim's stomach, forcing the assassin back. "I wasn't done talking. Too bad," Luffy said, cracking his knuckles. "I'm not just gonna sit here and listen to your life story." Grim growled angrily as he glared at the young pirate before he began to walk towards Luffy. The young pirate proceeded to so the same. Both men were mere inches away from each other. Due to the size difference, Luffy looked up at Grim while the assassin looked down. "We make this good fight," Grim said as his arms began to turn black and shiny. "Fine by me," Luffy said as his arms did the same. Only small red flames danced along his arms. Flume, soon the flames completely surrounded his right arm. Whip. Grim moved away quickly, but Luffy followed the Dino Man with his eyes, his flaming arm cocked back. Hicken. Fluash. An enormous torrent of red flames shot from his arm at Grim. The assassin crossed his arms moments before the attack hit him. When the flames died down, the floor and the wall were covered in black ash. Grimm stood against the wall, his arms crossed across his head. Lowering them, the assassin revealed minimal damage to his body from the intense attack, a sinister grin etched on his face. Whip Tobu Shigen Mitsubishi. Grimm fired 3 sharp air bullets at Luffy, only for them to pass harmlessly through his body. The assassin continued to fire a deadly barrage of the attacks. Luffy replied by crossing his middle fingers over his index fingers and held his hands in gun positions. Hygen rifle. Luffy launched several small fireballs at Grimm. Only his had a little spin on them. The flaming bullets intercepted the air bullets with high accuracy and exploded on contact. Whip. Grimm charged Luffy and managed to stab his fingers into Luffy's side before throwing him to the ground. The assassin placed his hands across from Luffy's chest. Rakushikiaji Rakugan. Fluim boom. Luffy transformed into fire just before the shockwave hit. The ground cratered from the shockwave, and Luffy surrounded the assassin with a sea of fire. You should know that even though you are a Logia, spreading yourself out like this is an advantage to me. Grimm turned his entire body black as he began to throw multiple black punches and kicks at the flames. The punches connected with Luffy as if he were solid. Fluim. Luffy reemerged from the flames, his right fist cocked back and black. Wham! He punched Grimm right in the face. Wham! Crack! Grimm delivered a powerful punch to Luffy's midsection, forcing the young man to cough up blood and throw him back. Whip. Grimm charged Luffy as the black-haired teen flew to the wall. His teeth turned black as he grabbed the young pirate, bit into Luffy's left shoulder. Odd. Luffy yelled in pain before he threw his right arm back. In his outstretched hand, Luffy formed a burning spear. Gomu Gomu no Hiari. Shunk. Luffy stabbed the spear right into Grimm's stomach. The force of the attack threw the Dino Man off of Luffy. Fluim. The fire spear lost its spear shape for the traditional fire look as it began to burn Grimm from the inside out. Damn bastard! Grimm growled as he placed his hands over the burning hole in his stomach, cutting the flames off from their source of oxygen. Luffy just gave him a cocky grin as he wiped a stray trail of blood from his forehead. Over with the rest of the Straw Hats, they found themselves loading onto the Thousand Sunny, ready to go at any given moment. All they needed now was Luffy. So the Marines got reinforcements? Sanji asked Frankie as he lit another cigarette. Who'd they send? Smoker and that swordswoman. Yay, my beloved Tashaji Chuan's here. Sanji yelled as he spun around in a circle, his left eye in the shape of a heart, and small heart-shaped puffs of smoke rose from the burning cigarette. Kanedaro cook! Zoro yelled at the cook as he carried an exhausted Naruto on his back. The blonde's arms draped over Zoro's shoulders, while the swordsman had him resting on Jet's sword Harosame. If you wanna flirt with her, go join the Marines. I don't negotiate with men who attack women, you asshole, Sanji yelled, flipping Zoro off. Robin, take Naruto, Zoro said, tossing literally the kid to the raven-haired woman. I'm gonna gut the cook. Nami proceeded to bop Sanji and Zoro on the head, resulting in a heart-shaped lump on Sanji and a large one on Zoro. Idiots, she growled. Can those two keep quiet? Naruto asked, looking at the 2 grown men lying on the ground at the navigator's feet. The young blonde didn't seem to notice that he was resting on Robin's lap, not that she, nor Kurama, minded. Don't count on it, Naruto. Robin said, no matter what, those two just can't get along. While the crew was going about their usual business, Nami leaned against the railing and looked up at the sky. She was getting worried, and the change in the air didn't help at all. Luffy, please get back soon. Over in the plaza, the Marines were busy evacuating all government and Navy personnel from the base. Please board the ships in a calm, orderly fashion. Tashaji ordered. Thought in many emergency situations people tend to panic horribly. It also didn't help that there were only 3 warships for them to board. All the others were destroyed during the Straw Hats' rampage. Tashaji, how's the evac going? Smoker said as he arrived dragging the CP0 members. Rex, Francis, Apollo, Ling, Jennifer and Shakian. Behind him, each one was bound with C-prism chains. We've got about half of the employees aboard the ships. The female captain reported, sir, shall we capture the Straw Hats once we're done here? No, Smoker said, we don't have enough time to evacuate everyone and capture them. Besides, we're bound to meet again. Crack boom, the sound of thunder roared overhead as Smoker looked up at the sky. What was cloudless and blue mere seconds ago was now pitch black. Hurry up with the evacuations, Tashaji, there's one hell of a storm coming fast. Back over with the Straw Hats. The storm clouds didn't go unnoticed by the navigator. Nami looked up at the sky with a worried expression on her face, as if she knew the source of the storm. What the hell's up with the sky? Naruto asked. I know it's normal for the weather to change in an instant, but shouldn't Nami have felt this coming with her weather sensing? I did feel it coming, she replied, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. At this rate I give it 10 minutes before it starts to tear everything apart. What really? Usopp and Chopper screamed. Nature sure is one fierce woman, Kurama said, nodding to himself. She can kill hundreds of people and yet humans are more pissed when I kill 10 to 20. Nami Swan, the water looks unusually choppy for stormy weather, Sanji yelled. Just as I thought, Nami said, looking over the rail to see rather large waves forming. The storm is influencing the currents. Currents? All the guys asked. GX is a man-made base, Robin said, made entirely out of magnetic metal so the Marines can find it. Even without the magnetic field, the base is built on a seething nest of currents from all over the place, converging under the base and heading deep underwater before coming back up, Nami said. So that means if this place is blown up, Sanji began. Water from all over the world, Naruto said. Would fill in the hole in the ocean, Usopp said. And any ships, sailor and sea creatures in the vicinity will be pulled into the hole and crushed by megatons of water converging right on top of them. Robin said, and the ocean will be dyed red from all the blood. Really? That's what you're thinking about? Usopp, Chopper and Frankie yelled. Robin's right, Nami said. Before this place blows we need to be far away, since in 9 minutes the currents will start to form a whirlpool thanks to this storm. So Luffy needs to be here within 9 minutes or we all die, Naruto asked. So whirlpool, explosion, flood and finally crushed, Zoro said. Sounds like a typical afternoon for us. As long as we don't leave anyone behind, Sanji said. Like hell we would even think of that, Nami yelled. The pirate's arms turned black and metallic as he stretched them back while charging the assassin jet bazooka, Luffy yelled as his open palms collided with Grimm's ribcage. Grimm tucked his fists to his sides, they too turned metallic black. Rakushikage, he began to throw a barrage of black fists at Luffy. Raku, a machine gun. Boom boom boom, shockwaves made large craters in the far wall. Luffy dodged each shockwave by moving side to side. Like hell, that's going to work on me. Luffy yelled as he threw his right arm back, spinning it in the process. Gear second Buzo, the arm began to steam as it turned metallic black. Kamisori, Grimm charged Luffy recklessly. Two black fists cocked back. Gomu Gomu no Flume, his outstretched arm became wreathed in red flames. Flamethrower. Kaboom, Luffy's punch connected with Grimm's chest. His burning fist began to sink into the reptilian body of the assassin as two streams of fire erupted through Grimm's body and out his back in a spiral formation. Grimm dug his feet into the ground to stop himself from being thrown back as blood escaped from his mouth while the pirate's fist dug deeper into his chest. Flames erupted around Luffy's striking arm, rocketing the arm and Grimm forward. The assassin's tail turned black and shiny. Grimm's tail wrapped itself around Luffy's neck and began to crush his throat as both combatants shot towards the wall. Grimm turned himself and pulled his tail so that he slammed Luffy into the wall first, while he brought his knee into the boy's chest. While still holding his neck with his tail, Grimm slammed Luffy into the ground before holding the pirate in front of him. Luffy tried to pull it off his neck, but Grimm was very strong. The assassin placed his hands across from Luffy's chest. Rakushikage Rakuaho. Grimm fired a Haki Imbue shockwave from his hands, right through Luffy's chest, causing massive internal damage to the flaming rubber boy. Luffy's body went limp after that last attack. Blood poured from his head, nose, eyes, mouth and many other parts of his body. Grimm wins, straw Luffy, the assassin growled. Chomp! Grimm's eyes widened in shock and pain as Luffy bit into his Haki Imbue tail, drawing blood. Grimm yelled in pain as he slammed Luffy into the ground. With difficulty Luffy kicked Grimm's chest wound, making the Dino Man yell in pain even more. Grimm's tail loosened around Luffy's neck, allowing the young man to escape. Damn, that attack W was powerful, Luffy said as he struggled to stay his feet. He punched hole in Grimm's chest, Grimm said to himself as he looked at the hole in his chest. The flames from the attack had seared the wound closed, so he was partially grateful for that, but Luffy's kick had slightly reopened it. If this fight didn't end soon, both of them would probably bleed out. Miyu's strongest form, the lizard man said as his body began to grow even more. His entire body turned black and shiny as he grew much larger than his already gigantic form was. Die, he yelled as he charged Luffy, his jaw wide open, showing off each Haki Imbue tooth. Thwack! Luffy kicked Grimm right in the jaw, launching the assassin skyward. Huff huff huff, Luffy panted before the rubber pirate twisted his body more than he had ever done. Flume! His lower half turned into flames, propelling him skyward after Grimm. He's coming, Grimm said to himself as he tried to move his body, but it just wouldn't respond. Damn, body won't move. Gear second Buzo, Luffy's arms began to smoke as they turned metallic black. Gomu Gomu no Luffy began to throw his fists at Grim in rapid succession. Flume the friction from their movement set each fist on fire. That in the Mera Mera no Mi, wham boom wham boom wham boom wham boom, the fists collided with Grim, exploding out the Dino Man's back and surrounding him in flames, smoke and explosions. Firestorm. Luffy kept hammering at Grim, who by now was completely unconscious, into the ceiling and unrelenting. The pirate kept pushing the assassin back up throughout the hole they entered from and up the tower. From the outside, people watched as GX's central tower began to tremble as explosions burst through the windows, doors and any holes in the building. Debris, fire and smoke were just tearing through the building, traveling upward until kaboom, the top of the tower exploded in a torrent of fire, and figure went sailing out of the inferno. He was followed closely by another humanoid figure, which had his fist raised high in triumph. "I'll be damned," Sanji said. Yahoo! Chopper squealed. "He did it," Usopp yelled. "Now we can all get out of here," Nami cried. "About time," Zoro said. Hey, Robin chuckled. "Well, this is over now, let's get the hell out of here," Naruto said, grinning. Time until giant whirlpool forms 4:14:32. Time until Dynastones detonate 7:23:67. Thwack. Luffy kicked Grim right in the jaw, launching the assassin skyward. Huff huff huff. Luffy panted before the rubber pirate twisted his body more than he had ever done. Flume. His lower half turned into flames, propelling him skyward after Grim. He's coming," Grim said to himself as he tried to move his body, but it just wouldn't respond. "Damn body won't move." Gear second. Buzo. Luffy's arms began to smoke as they turned metallic black. Gomu Gomu no Luffy began to throw his fists at Grim in rapid succession. Flume the friction from their movement set each fist on fire. That in the Mera Mera no Mi, wham boom wham boom wham boom wham boom, the fists collided with Grim, exploding out the Dino Man's back and surrounding him in flames, smoke and explosions. Firestorm. Luffy kept hammering at Grim, who by now was completely unconscious, into the ceiling and unrelenting. The pirate kept pushing the assassin back up throughout the hole they entered from and up the tower. From the outside, people watched as GX's central tower began to tremble as explosions burst through the windows, doors and any holes in the building. Debris, fire and smoke were just tearing through the building, traveling upward until kaboom, the top of the tower exploded in a torrent of fire, and figure went sailing out of the inferno. He was followed closely by another humanoid figure, which had his fist raised high in triumph. "I'll be damned," Sanji said. Yahoo! Chopper squealed. "He did it," Usopp yelled. "Now we can all get out of here," Nami cried. "About time," Zoro said. Hey, Robin chuckled. "Well, this is over now, let's get the hell out of here," Naruto said, grinning. Time until giant whirlpool forms 4:14:32. Time until Dynastones detonate 7:23:67. Vice Admiral look. It's Straw Hat. Smoker looked up to see Luffy's defeat of Grim. "Let him go this time," he said, turning away with a slight smile. "We'll get him some other day." "Sir, are you sure?" "Yeah, we gotta get out of here quickly," Smoker said, walking up the ramp to his ship. "Tashigi, how is it coming?" "Everyone has boarded the ship, sir," she replied. "Good. Let's go," the White Hunter said as the ships began to pull away from the base. Flume. Luffy transformed his legs into fire, propelling himself towards the Thousand Sunny. He slammed violently onto the deck of the ship, making the vessel rock dangerously. Everyone grabbed onto something to stabilize themselves. Though none of them noticed the chest with the Bijou no Mi slide dangerously close to the port side of the ship. "Hey guys," Luffy said, grinning, "we got Naruto and Robin back," Luffy asked, looking around, his vision fading slightly due to blood loss. "Now we can party when we get out of here." He closed his eyes and went to sleep. "Luffy," the pirates yelled, rushing to their captain's side. "Are you okay?" Chopper cried, looking over Luffy's bloodied body. "He's bleeding all over, what do you think?" Naruto said to the little reindeer. "And we don't have enough of his blood on board," Chopper said. "We used up most of it after his battle with Big Mom." Naruto let Chopper use your blood. "Why?" "You and Luffy have the same blood type, I think. B is the same as F. We'll see." Kurama. "Hey Chopper, can you use my blood?" Naruto asked, rolling up his sleeve. "Your blood type is F, right?" the little reindeer asked. "Well, it's B, but Kurama says that they are the same thing. If it is, are you okay with it being used? Take as much as you need." Naruto said, smiling. "I'd be glad to give my blood to one of my best friends." The rest of the crew smiled at his declaration. "All right Chopper, you and Naruto bring Luffy to the infirmary. Set up the blood transfusion immediately." "Yes ma'am." Naruto saluted as he helped Chopper pick up the barely conscious Luffy. "The rest of you get the ship ready to sail immediately," Nami ordered. "We've got about 3 minutes to escape from here." Frankie, how are the cola tanks looking? We've got enough for one coup de burst, so we have to make it count. Good, get it ready to fire at a moment's notice, Nami said. Sanji, Zoro, Usopp and Brook, take up the sails so we don't ruin them once we use the burst. Unbeknownst to the Straw Hats, more marine reinforcements arrived on the scene. Admiral, we have the Straw Hats in our sights, a marine said to a tall figure standing at the bow of the ship. The admiral wore a large navy coat with "Justice" written on the back, like almost every other high-ranking marine. Excellent, he said, not turning around. His eyes focused upon the pirate ship before him. Open fire, he ordered. Boom, boom, boom. The marine warships began a relentless assault upon the small pirate ship. Zoro and Sanji tensed as they felt something heading towards them. In one fluid motion they turned around and deflected a barrage of cannonballs flying at them into the sea. Sploosh, sploosh, ba-boom. Damn, more marines, Zoro said. Frankie, we need that coup de burst now, Nami yelled at the cyborg. Take down the sails. Zoro, Sanji, protect the ship at all costs. Don't have to tell me twice, Zoro said, placing Watto in his mouth. As you command, Nami Swan, Sanji yelled. What the hell's happening out there? Naruto said as Chopper finished setting up the blood transfusion. Probably just some marines, Luffy said. Don't worry about it. Just keep still, you guys, Chopper said. This shouldn't take that long. Why do I have this nagging feeling that we're forgetting something very important? Kurama said to his host. Let's see. We were rescued. We are escaping right now. According to Zoro, I got a new sword, and the Bijou no Mi are on the oh shit, Naruto yelled, sitting right up, almost making the four fall right out. Chopper of course forced Naruto right back down. Naruto, you have to lay down, otherwise you'll just bleed out everywhere. Yeah, but we left the chest with those devil fruit on the deck. What if I gets knocked overboard, or worse, the marines get them back? If you're that worried about the chest, I'll go get it for boom. Chopper never finished his sentence as he, Naruto and Luffy all moved in accordance to the movement of the ship. Naruto was correct, however, the chest with the bijou fruits was still on the deck. Emphasis on was because the force from the coup de burst made the chest fall overboard. Naruto was wrestling with Chopper to get onto the deck to secure the chest, but the reindeer's heavy point proved to be much stronger than the blonde boy. Sure, he should be more worried about doing the blood transfusion, but the fruit were important to Kurama and he just couldn't let anything happen to them. Naruto, you gotta keep still. Chopper ordered, but Naruto pushed the man reindeer off of himself and rushed outside, making the four fall out in the process. Chopper was forced to concentrate to stop the blood spraying from the tube. Damn, what's he thinking? Let it go, Chopper, Luffy said, pushing himself up before the reindeer rushed to his side. Luffy, take it easy. Naruto is worried about a treasure of his, let him go save it. But what about you? You still need more blood. Don't worry about it, I'm fine, Luffy grinned, taking the four out of his own arm. Naruto burst out of the infirmary just in time to watch the chest fly over the side of the ship into the ocean below them. The blonde ran to the edge of the ship. Everyone turned looking at him, yelling at him to stop, but he ignored them and dove of the flying ship and into the sea. Whap! An arm grabbed him by the collar of his shirt before he hit the water before pulling him back onto the deck of the ship. Tears began to roll down his eyes. Well, what do you know, they escaped. The admiral said, watching the ship fly away. The fleet admiral won't be too pleased with this report. What are you gonna do about it, sir? I'll tell him the truth. The Straw Hats were gone when we got there, and that includes when Vice Admiral Smoker arrived. You better pray to whatever deity that he doesn't find out that they merely escaped our cannon barrages. Perhaps we should leave, the admiral said as he fleet of ships turned around, leaving the area, just avoiding the giant whirlpool. Kaboom! Several minutes later, an explosion of colossal magnitude shook the entire ocean. A massive tidal wave raced out from the explosion in all directions, passing right underneath the Thousand Sunny, crushing everything in its path. And at the center was a gigantic hole in the ocean itself. GX was no more, destroyed by the very thing it was designed to protect. It turns out the devil fruit chest had found itself caught in the aforementioned whirlpool. As soon as it had reached the center, the Dynastones detonated, destroying the chest and scattering the 8 Bijou no Mi to regions unknown, most likely never to be found again. Holy crap, Usopp said. We could have been caught in that, Nami said, looking at the still glowing explosion. Naruto, what the hell were you thinking? Zoro demanded as he tossed the blonde onto the grass deck, ignoring the explosion and turning everyone's focus onto the kid. The blonde didn't reply, only tears fell down his face. Even if you could swim, you still would have drowned in those waves, Robin added. He would have drowned, Frankie yelled from the wheel. What did he do, eat a devil fruit? Exactly, Robin said with a straight face. He would have drowned and then would have been crushed under tons of water if he survived getting his body being blown to smithereens. How the hell can you say that with a straight face? Usopp yelled. Damn it, Sob. He sobbed. They were important, sobbed to Kurama and Sob, and we just let them fall overboard. He wiped his eyes and nose with the sleeve of his shirt. Naruto, I know you wanted to get those, though they wouldn't have done much good for you personally. Naruto, Luffy said, walking towards him. Was what was in that chest so important to you that you'd throw away everything you had for it? We could have used those devil fruit to help any other Jinchuriki like me whose lives have literally been hell, Naruto said after he whipped away the tears from his face and sitting up. Besides, it would also help your brothers and sisters, right, Kurama? Naruto, Kurama sighed. That's the you I know, always thinking of others before yourself. But was it worth your life? I guess not, Naruto said, but they were really important too. Nothing is more important than life, Chopper said. There is nothing in this world that equals the value of life, no matter how powerful or rare it may or may not be. Willing to die to help people you don't even know is kind of stupid but understandable, Zoro said. Yeah, you've had an extremely rough childhood, though I think it's rather interesting that instead of being cold and heartless you genuinely want to aid people just like you, Sanji said. We're sorry we couldn't protect your treasure, but don't worry, it will never happen again, Luffy grinned. Yes, broke Chimden. Besides, devil fruit always come back into circulation, one way or another. You can always find them again. Thanks guys, Naruto said. On another note, Robin said you ate a devil fruit yourself, Nami asked. Yeah, Naruto said, summoning fire to his hands. It's called the Biju no Mi model Kyuubi no Kitsune. What exactly does it do? It's supposed to give me full access to Kurama's abilities, of course the only downside being that, nope, can't think of anything. This is pretty freaking awesome. Naruto said, looking at his hands as he summoned flames. You do realize you can never swim for the rest of your life, right? Sanji asked. Yeah, but who cares, Naruto said. Luffy, Chopper, Robin, Brook and Kurama can't swim. Besides, I can walk on water. Kurama can't swim, Frankie asked. I know, it's weird, isn't it? He's a giant, 900-year-old, nine-tailed demon fox who can't even swim. Hehehe, Naruto chuckled along with Luffy, who was laughing hysterically. You guys want to meet him? Meet him? Nami asked. You can do that. Isn't he sealed inside your stomach? Brook asked. Sort of, Naruto replied. After eating the Biju no Mi, I can let him out whenever I want. Naruto clapped his hands together. I just don't know how. He closed his eyes and concentrated. Hey Kurama, wanna come out? I would love to, the Biju said. How do we do it? Try picturing yourself in the outside world. I picture myself here and that's how I get into our mindscape. Well, it's worth a shot, Kurama said, placing his hands together. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Outside the mindscape, Naruto opened his eyes. Here he comes. Poof, a large puff of smoke engulfed the entire deck. Fox claws emerged from the smoke as 9 red-orange tails emerged from the back. Behold, Kurama said as his face emerged from the smoke. I am Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, most powerful of the Biju, summoner of disasters. And the single sexiest beast the world has ever known. Muhahahahaha. With that laugh, the smoke completely cleared, revealing Kurama's full body to the crew. He was the same size as Chopper's reindeer form, about 5 feet 4 inches. What the? Kurama yelled as he realized how small he was. He's only this big, Usopp laughed. I'm laughing so hard it hurts my diaphragm. But I don't have a diaphragm. Yahahaho. I was expecting a super fox like him to be way bigger than the sunny. Frankie laughed. Shishishishi, Luffy just sat there and laughed up a storm. I really thought you'd be bigger in the real world, Naruto said to his surrogate older brother. Almost everyone is as tall if not taller than you. You're one to talk. Hey, I just realized something. Naruto clapped his hands together. Chopper and I are small enough to ride on your back. There is no way in hell I'm giving anyone except Nami Swan and Robin Swan rides Kurama. Nami ran up and cuddled his fur, much to his delight. Oh, thank you, Kurama, that's so sweet of you. And your fur is so fuzzy it's like a pillow in a blanket wrapped in red-orange goodness. Alright guys, listen up. Usopp yelled from the upper deck, holding a mug in his left hand. I propose a toast to our newish crew member Kurama, the Watch Fox. The hell's that supposed to mean? Kurama yelled, getting frustrated. Alright, the entire crew cheered, slamming their mugs together, and began to laugh at the demon fox's misfortune for the rest of the day. Poof, a large puff of smoke engulfed the entire deck. Fox claws emerged from the smoke as 9 red-orange tails emerged from the back. Behold, Kurama said as his face emerged from the smoke. I am Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, most powerful of the Biju, summoner of disasters. And the single sexiest beast the world has ever known. Muahahahaha. With that laugh, the smoke completely cleared, revealing Kurama's full body to the crew. He was the same size as Chopper's reindeer form, about 5 feet 4 inches. What the? Kurama yelled as he realized how small he was. He's only this big, Usopp laughed. I'm laughing so hard it hurts my diaphragm. Ah, but I don't have a diaphragm. Yahahaho. Ah. I was expecting a super fox like him to be way bigger than the sunny. Frankie laughed. Shishishishi. Luffy just sat there and laughed up a storm. I really thought you'd be bigger in the real world, Naruto said to his surrogate older brother. Almost everyone is as tall if not taller than you. You're one to talk. Hey, I just realized something. Naruto clapped his hands together. Chopper and I are small enough to ride on your back. There is no way in hell I'm giving anyone except Nami Swan and Robin Swan rides, Kurama said. Nami ran up and cuddled his fur, much to his delight. Oh, thank you, Kurama, that's so sweet of you. And your fur is so fuzzy it's like a pillow in a blanket wrapped in red-orange goodness. All right guys, listen up. Usopp yelled from the upper deck, holding a mug in his left hand. I propose a toast to our newish crew member Kurama, the Watch Fox. The hell's that supposed to mean? Kurama yelled, getting frustrated. All right, the entire crew cheered, slamming their mugs together, and began to laugh at the demon fox's misfortune for the rest of the day. As the days became weeks and the weeks became a month, for all intents and purposes it's April, for the Straw Hats. Many things on the other side of the world were happening in the Land of Fire's resident ninja village, Konoha. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze had just been released from the hospital after giving birth to her third child, who she and Minato named Menma. Menma was an adorable little baby. He looked exactly like Naruto, except the small amount of hair he had was red like his mother, and the fact that he had no whiskers on his face. As Kushina arrived at her apartment carrying little Menma in her arms, "Here we are, Menma, home," she said as she grabbed the door handle. When she opened the door, she was met with a big surprise. Surprise. Welcome home, Kushina. Welcome home, Menma, everyone yelled as mother and child entered the room. Standing there before them was Mikoto, Sasuke, Itachi, Natsumi, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Tsunade and Minato. Kushina just stared at the welcoming party, completely surprised. Only Menma's cries snapped her out of her trance. SHH. SHH. Menma, it's okay, she cooed to the upset baby. Little Tyke doesn't seem to like the idea of a surprise party, Jiraiya joked. Eroji, don't make fun of Menma, Natsumi said. Yeah, you damn perv, Tsunade said, bopping him on the head. Kushina-san. Kushina felt a tug on her dress. She looked down to see Sasuke there. Can I hold Menma, please? He gave her the biggest puppy dog eyes he could. I guess it's okay, Kushina said as she crouched to his level and handed Menma to Sasuke. Careful, Sasuke, don't drop him, Itachi said before Mikoto bopped him on the head. Don't say such things, Itachi, Mikoto said. Yes, mother. Besides, you may jinx Sasuke-kun and make him drop Menma-kun, Mikoto chuckled. Don't even joke about that, Mikoto. Kushina yelled at her friend, worried for her baby. Kushina, Sasuke would never. Whoa, Sasuke yelled as he tripped over Menma's blanket. The baby went up into the air as Sasuke fell flat on his face. Menma, everyone yelled as they frantically attempted to catch the falling child. Thankfully, Menma never hit the ground. He was caught by his father midair. Minato landed gracefully on his feet before handing Menma back to Kushina. Phew, that would have been bad, Minato said as he handed his son back to Kushina. Menma giggled at his parents and the entire room with happiness, completely unaware what just happened. All he knew was that it was fun. Everyone talked and chatted for another hour before everyone began to leave. Soon only Kushina, Menma, Natsumi and Minato remained. Natsumi, would you please wait in the other room? I have to talk to your mother. Okay, Tao-chan, Natsumi said as she picked a book off the bookshelf. Minato nervously walked up to Kushina while she put Menma down for a nap. Kushina, can I talk to you? He asked alone. I guess so, she said as she left Menma's room. Follow me. She led Minato into her bedroom right next to Menma. All right, what is it, Minato? Kushina, you know I love you, right? Yeah. And you know that I love our children, all our children. Natsumi and Menma, I am positive of, but not Naruto, she replied. Minato lowered his head. I'll admit originally I only wanted him back because of the marriage contract with the Kuja princess. And that I may not have ever really cared for Naruto. Kushina raised an eyebrow, but I know now that even if I want Naruto to return, I have absolutely no say in the matter. I have been so blinded by my own pride and belief in myself that I could not see the truth, and when I did see it I couldn't stand it. Preferring to live within my own sheltered little world. Tears began to stream down his face. I did everything for a village that I became blinded by, and because of that lost sight of Naruto. When I lost sight of what was important, I lost it in that exact moment. What are you trying to say, Minato? I lost my family. I lost you, Natsumi, Menma, and especially Naruto. What? Kushina asked, shocked. Minato rarely showed emotions, so for him to break down like this, he must have been killing himself inside. Naruto ran away. Natsumi doesn't want to be with me, and you Kushina, need to be away from me. Minato cried. I'm such a fool and a monster. I'm a foolish monster. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a set of documents. Minato, what are those? She asked, partially knowing what they might have been. These are divorce forms, Minato said, holding them up to her. All you have to do is sign them and you get everything. Mina. We've grown apart over the last 6 months, Kushina. Perhaps this is for the best. You get the kids, the house, all our jutsu, the money, everything. Seems like a worthy punishment for myself. He said I lost what was important, so now I shouldn't have anything at all. Kushina was silent by his words. Don't bother trying to talk me out of it, Kushina. I'm doing this for my family, not for the village, for my family. The ones I should have always put first. Minato turned around to leave. I'll just leave these with you, he said, tossing the documents onto her bed. Kushina did the one thing she could in this situation, hug him. Minato was quite stunned when his wife hugged him. Kushina. Minato, don't be stupid, she said as tears fell down her face. I have never and will never want to leave you. We're tied together by a red thread of fate. She buried her head into the crook of his neck. We can work through this. We've overcome much worse. Kushina. What would the village say if they learned that you divorced me and gave me everything down to the last bowl of ramen in the cupboard? I don't care what the village says or thinks anymore. He pulled away from her and looked into her eyes. All that matters to me now is doing right by you, Natsumi, Menma, and especially Naruto, even if he may never know it. Minato, Kushina said. However, their tender moment was cut short by Menma's cries for attention. Guess we'll just have to wait, she said as she broke away from Minato and left the room. Just after she left, Minato couldn't help but smile that despite being a bastard and a monster, she still loved him and was willing to give him a chance to fix everything. He was determined to not mess this up. He grabbed the divorce papers and ripped them to pieces before throwing them in the trash. The next day, Kushina walked down the road pushing little Menma in his stroller while Natsumi skipped along next to her. Everywhere she and her children received nods and smiles from all the villagers they passed. Natsumi had really done a 180 in terms of character over the last month. She was now kind and supportive and always willing to help her mother and friends. She has developed a neutral relationship with Sasuke. At first they were butting heads, but after a while they became frenemies. She had also improved her relationship with her actual friends. Ino, Sakura and Hinata. She even developed better friendships with the male clan heirs as well. Currently they had just left the playground and were heading to get some ramen on the way home. The trio stopped at Ramen Ichiraku, their favorite, only, ramen restaurant in the entire village. The restaurant is run by a man known as Tucci. He considers his job as an art form and takes it very seriously. His daughter, Aim, also works in the shop with him. Ah, look who it is, two of my favorite customers, the old man said with jolly smile. Truth was, he liked all the Uzumaki Namikaze family members, especially Naruto. Though he never showed it, he was rather disappointed when he learned of the neglect Naruto went through. However, ever since they've been trying to find him, Tucci had regained hope that all 3 members of the clan could redeem themselves. Who's this, he asked, noticing Menma. This is Menma, Kushina said as she picked the baby out of his stroller. We just went for a little walk around the village. But now mommy and sissy are hungry and I'll bet Menma is as well. Menma giggled with delight at the thought of food. Alright, Natsumi, what can I get for you? I'll have miso ramen. How about you and Menma have? Kushina. I'll have the usual, but Menma is too young to be eating ramen at the moment. Sh leaned her face in close to the baby so that their noses were touching. Menma giggled as he reached out, grabbing a handful of Kushina's hair before bringing it towards his mouth. Kushina pulled her hair away from him. I know you like my hair, Menma, but you can't eat it. She brought the baby down to her breast. But I know you're saying, Mommy, I'm hungry, feed me now. Kushina couldn't care less that she was about to breastfeed in a public place. If a child is hungry, they should eat. She really didn't have to worry about the villagers or any perverts who may think about her, mainly because she breastfed Naruto in public once. One asshole decided to look at her like a massive pervert. This guy was the lucky winner of a fist to the head courtesy of one Minato Namikaze. While the Uzumaki Namikaze trio waited for their ramen, Natsumi caught sight of a man sitting 2 seats over from her. Because she was the Hokage's daughter, and she wanted to be friends with everyone, curiosity made her stare at the man. It was her mission to get to know everyone in the village. She couldn't explain why. This man must have been new to the village because she had never seen him before. He had long black hair, a furrowed brow, handsome features, a large burn scar on the left side of his face and neck. He had a Caucasian skin color, wore a dark navy blue dress shirt, black pants and black shoes. Even though he didn't dress like a ninja, one could never be too careful. He reached forward and grabbed the glass in front of him delicately. Inside was an alcoholic drink with a rather large ice cube. He held it up and examined the drink before bringing the glass to his lips. He seemed to enjoy the drink as he placed it back down on the table. That's when Natsumi noticed the glass was completely empty, not even the ice cube remained. Well, it sort of remained as a trail of steam escaping the glass. It's not polite to stare at someone while they are eating, he said without even looking at her. Sorry, it's just that I've never seen you around here before and I was wondering who you are and where you're from. You really don't need to know, I'm just passing through and I thought I might as well enjoy a drink. At this point Kushina picked up on the fact her daughter was having a conversation and turned towards it, more specifically the man talking to her daughter. His face seemed familiar but she just couldn't figure out where it was from. Those are some cute kids you've got there, Kushina, he said, turning towards the older redhead. Her eyes widened in shock. That voice, oh how she remembered that voice, how she longed to forget it, how it haunted her nightmares and filled her mind with absolute terror. Her body froze as she stared at the black-haired man. She remembered much about this man except for his name. What are you doing here? She asked. Demanded. Come to finish the job from all those years ago. No, nothing of that sort, he said, looking back to his glass. I'm just hunting someone and I figured this was a nice place to stop and get something to eat. Kushina immediately went into defensive mode, placing herself between him and her children. Don't worry, I'm not here for anyone you are related to. If I was here for you or your children, you would have been dead 10 times in the time it took for you to get between me and your daughter. I'm just looking for someone who used to work for the organization I am currently a part of. Akatsuki. No, but I've heard rumors that the man I hunt is currently a member of Akatsuki. The black-haired man stood up and began to leave. Oh, before I forget, Kushina, do you know anything about fire? Fire. Never mind, he said, leaving the shop. Wait. Kushina called after him as she followed him out of the shop. At least tell me your name. I told you my name once, and I remembered yours because you caught my interest, he said, not even turning around. If you really don't remember my name, I'll give you a reminder. Kushina felt her entire body heat up beyond what the body could normally take. She looked down to see that she was on fire, burning away to nothingness. All she could do is scream as the flames swallowed her. Ah! She screamed as she found herself back in reality. Her body was completely covered in sweat and the black-haired man was gone. Menma's cries caught her ear as she went back to the ramen shop. Natsumi was cradling Menma. Both of them looked afraid and they were both sweating profusively. Tucci and his daughter were in similar positions as the two Uzumaki Namikaze children. Kushina, who the hell was that guy? Mommy, who was he? What was that realistic genjutsu? Far from the village, the black-haired man turned around, looking back from where he had just come. A massive eel-like dragon appeared in the air behind him. It had dark brown skin, 6 tiny legs with only 1 claw each, 2 large wings at its front and 2 smaller ones at its rear, which both have brown feathers and numerous spikes along their edges. It had 1 large dorsal fin on the upper part of its back and a smaller one near its rear. It had 2 long tendrils coming out of the top of its head, which may be its ears. Its eyes are pitch black and have yellow pupils. Beneath its mouth, it had a large tuft of orange hair which resembles a beard. It's really a shame, Kushina. I so hoped that you would have grown much more powerful since last we met, but what I lost in you I found in someone else. He got up onto his dragon. I'd better hurry this up. It's almost time for the festival. No, but I've heard rumors that the man I hunt is currently a member of Akatsuki. The black-haired man stood up and began to leave. Oh, before I forget, Kushina, do you know anything about fire? Fire. Never mind, he said, leaving the shop. Wait. Kushina called after him as she followed him out of the shop. At least tell me your name. I told you my name once, and I remembered yours because you caught my interest, he said, not even turning around. If you really don't remember my name, I'll give you a reminder. Kushina felt her entire body heat up beyond what the body could normally take. She looked down to see that she was on fire, burning away to nothingness. All she could do is scream as the flames swallowed her. Ah! She screamed as she found herself back in reality. Her body was completely covered in sweat and the black-haired man was gone. Menma's cries caught her ear as she went back to the ramen shop. Natsumi was cradling Menma, both of them looked afraid and they were both sweating profusively. Tucci and his daughter were in similar positions as the two Uzumaki Namikaze children. Kushina, who the hell was that guy? Mommy, who was he? What was that realistic genjutsu? Far from the village, the black-haired man turned around looking back from where he had just come. A massive eel-like dragon appeared in the air behind him. It had dark brown skin, 6 tiny legs with only 1 claw each, 2 large wings at its front and 2 smaller ones at its rear, which both have brown feathers and numerous spikes along their edges. It had 1 large dorsal fin on the upper part of its back and a smaller one near its rear. It had 2 long tendrils coming out of the top of its head, which may be its ears. Its eyes are pitch black and have yellow pupils. Beneath its mouth, it had a large tuft of orange hair which resembles a beard. It's really a shame, Kushina. I so hoped that you would have grown much more powerful since last we met, but what I lost in you I found in someone else. He got up onto his dragon. I'd better hurry this up, it's almost time for the festival. In the Hokage Tower, Kushina found herself completely surrounded by Minato, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Natsumi and Menma. Kushina, what the hell happened? Minato asked, extremely concerned. I'm getting reports, from the area around Ramen Ichiraku, about people felling themselves, getting burned alive to nothing. It was that man, Kushina said simply. What man? Jiraiya asked. The man who Natsumi, Menma and I met in the ramen shop. I've heard about a man leaving the shop seconds before you did, Minato said. They all describe him the same way. Minato, do you remember the last mission I went on? You mean the one 8 years ago? Yeah, when you got back you told Hirozen you wanted to take a leave from the shinobi forces. That was for 2 reasons. 1, I found out I was pregnant with Naruto and Natsumi shortly before returning, and 2, my entire team was slaughtered. Flashback no jutsu. 8 years ago. Kushina and 2 other men stood before the 3rd Hokage. The 2 men were wearing complete Anbu uniforms, making them look near identical except for their masks. The one to Kushina's left wore a hawk-themed mask while the man to her right wore a shark-themed mask. Kushina herself wore a skin-tight navy blue suit that exposed her midriff and lower shins. There were bracers on her arms. And a flak jacket, while her long red hair was pulled back in a high ponytail with 2 strands framing her face, and a leaf headband was on her forehead. On her back was a katana in a white sheath. Kushina, the old Hokage said as all 3 snapped to attention. I have an important mission for you 3, and Kushina, you can bring along your former team if you'd like. Ya know I'm gonna bring them along anyway, old man. She said, folding her arms behind her head and flashing a large smile. They may have just recently been promoted, but they still need the experience. I thought as much. The old man sighed. It's a B-ranked mission. You and your team are to escort a certain prisoner over to the capital for execution. Hirozen let out some smoke from his pipe. Normally this would be a C-ranked mission, however there is still the off chance that this man's followers may stage a rescue attempt. Because of that threat, Hawk and Shark, you 2 will be going with her team as backup, even though I believe you to more than enough for this mission alone, Kushina. Hi Hokage-sama. They saluted before they left the room via the body flicker technique, leaving 3 puffs of smoke. Kushina and the 2 Anbu met her team at the village gates along with the criminal. Her team consisted of 2 boys and 1 girl. The first boy had spiky blue hair pulled back into a ponytail. He wore dark green clothes with a flak jacket. His headband covered his right eye. This boy's name was Kimono Aotora, but everyone just called him Tora. The other boy had straight black hair. His headband was on his left shoulder. His tear troughs were very pronounced. He also wore a flak jacket over white shinobi attire consisting black gloves and black boots, with a blue lining complete with a kune pouch on his left leg. This boy went by the name of Yusu Lycan. The girl that stood between them had long brown hair, brown eyes and a fair face. Her attire was very similar to Kushina except it was black and not blue. She also had bandages wrapped around her. Her neck was a long necklace with exactly 1080 beads. It was given to her by Kushina for good luck during the Chunin exams. Her name was Daokiko. The mission itself went completely smooth, not a single hitch on the week-long trip, neither on the journey to the capital nor at the actual execution. Let's just say Kushina saw hell on the return trip. On the way back, Kushina and her team decided to rest at a small village not too far from Konoha. When they arrived, they were met with a devastated scene. The entire populace of the village was dead. People were burned, sliced up, parts gouged out, holes were pierced through them, and hell, the buildings themselves were badly damaged. At the center of the village, the sacred tree had been torn down and all its fruit had been taken. Who would have done such a thing? Keiko asked as she stared at the carnage. Kushina-sensei, if we're at a time of peace, why is there this much death? Kushina looked at her student. It's in human nature to be rather violent, Aotora said. It's just something we cannot avoid. Some people are willing to wipe out an entire village for the sake of a few apples. Well, according to legend, the apple tree was given to the villagers by Konohana Sakuai. Lichen said the tree eventually sprouted golden apples that protected the village from all harm. A lot of good that did, the Aotora commented. Kushina-san, you look around here while we go on ahead, Hawk said. Try to find out anything you can from anyone who may still be alive. You three are coming with us, Shark said. We are gonna hunt for the one who did this. Yes sir, the three Chunins said. Kushina wandered around the village looking for any sign of life, yet she found none. Upon returning to the village center, she noticed an owl man pinned under the apple tree. Are you okay? She asked as she crouched next to him. Cough please, cough, retrieve our cough, treasure from the bird, cough, Birdman, he managed to say as his eyes closed and he moved no more. It was then Kushina noticed two things. First, the old man had been split in half by the tree, so he was beyond saving, and two, there was a strange footprint over by the remainder of the tree stump. It had 3 long toes and one more projection in the opposite direction. What kind of creature has footprints like that? Kushina wondered as she bent down to investigate. Kaboom! Kushina heard a loud explosion from the direction her team went off in. Immediately she charged off into that direction. Backtrack about 10 minutes. Hawk, Shark, Aotora, Lichen and Keiko found themselves face to face with the thief-murderer. A strange creature that stood 7 feet tall, covered in thick black fur. Its face was long and beak-like. Circles where the eyes would be, and it had 5 fingers and 4 toes, 3 in the front, 1 in the back. In its right hand it held a net that was filled with golden apples, the same ones from the village. The creature raised its left hand to its head and scratched the side of its temple. Damn, you guys found me. Are you the one who stole the apples from the village? Aotora demanded. So what if I did? Is it possible for you to return them nicely? Sorry, but my boss needs them way more than that pathetic village did. The creature lowered its left hand. I wasn't going to kill them originally, but they left me no choice when they all attacked me. You monster, Lichen growled. Out of the 5-leaf shinobi, Keiko stared at the creature in terror. It was casually talking to them like they were no threat, and she felt absolutely no chakra coming off of its body. There was no way in hell this thing was even alive. You kids stay behind us, Hawk said as he and Shark stood between the Birdman and the 3 Chunin. We'll kill this thing and bring the apples back to Konoha. Konoha? Sorry, but I can't let you do that. The creature placed the net on the ground. Like I said before, my boss needs them, but if you want to fight for them, then I'll have no choice but to kill you all. The tone was cold, serious and merciless. I'll end this in less than a minute, Aotora yelled as he charged the beast with a kunai in hand. Thwa Krak, the Birdman swung his left arm around so fast and strong that the force of the blow made the blue-haired boy's head fly back, pulling his neck with it, effectively snapping it before his body was sent sailing into several trees. The force of the crash made several more trees fall on top of Aotora's body. It was a good thing he was dead when his neck snapped, otherwise he would be in a world of pain. That wasn't even 1 second, the creature said, turning to the remaining 4 stunned shinobi. Now who's next? Aotora, Keiko asked weakly, only to receive no response. Guess you're next. The Birdman charged her with blinding speed, its arms crossed against its chest. Peeler shot. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Lichen threw several shuriken at the creature before each one was made into 20 shadow shuriken clonus. However, they didn't stop whatever it was the Birdman threw, as its attack tore through the shuriken like a hot knife through butter. Interesting skill you got there, the Birdman said. I haven't seen anyone who could multiply things besides Eld Clang. It was interrupted as Hawk and Shark slashed their swords across its chest in an X formation. However, there was no blood, and worse for the shinobi still, the slashes left no marks whatsoever on the Birdman's body. Instead, the Anbu swords broke. That's a tough body you have there, Shark said. My fur alone is made with reinforced aramid fibers, the Birdman said. It's a far stronger material than what you fools use for protection. It once again crossed its arms over its chest. Combine them. With this machine's strength and speed, these little hairs can tear even through flesh and bone. Lichen saw them heading for Keiko, so he did the one thing he could. He pushed her down and took the full brunt of the attack. Peeler shot. The shots tore it in through Lichen. Pieces of his flesh were literally torn from his body. He tried to protect his face, chest and head, but it was ineffective as a lone shot tore straight through his skull, leaving a hole through his head. Multiple hairs tore through various parts of his body, one even took out his left eye, while several took off his fingers. Lycan was dead before he hit the ground. The Birdman once again turned to Keiko, who's still on the ground in shock. Tears poured down her face as she stared at the lifeless bodies of her teammates. She then glared at the Birdman with a renewed fire in her eyes. Quickly she went through hand signs Kaiten Enden, but the Birdman was already inside her guard. "I did warn you to not get in my way," it said. Mixer punch. Thunk. From the Birdman drove a spinning fist into Keiko's stomach. Because of its strength and durability, the fist completely drilled through the poor girl's stomach and out her back. The brunette coughed up a large amount of blood before she fell to her knees. Suddenly the creature crouched down to her level and looked into her eyes. "Such a shame, really. But I'll be nice and put you out of your misery." It raised its right hand, but before it could strike, Hawk intervened. Daten Kengan no Jutsu Wim. A large fist of rock rocketed out of the ground and slammed into the Birdman's chest, knocking him away from Keiko as she fell completely to the ground. "What'll Kushina think when she learns that all 3 of her former students are dead?" he asked Shark. "I have no idea," Shark said as he rubbed his chin. "If this guy doesn't kill us first, she just might." "Think you are right. Is this Kushina stronger than you?" the Birdman said, getting back up. Once again, no visible damage. "Damn, nothing seems to faze this guy," Shark thought. "How can you take all these hits and still keep fighting? That's for me to know and you to never find out." Once more it charged the Anbu agents. The Anbu jumped out of the way as the Birdman brought its hand down. "Nice reflexes." "Kage Bushin no Jutsu," Hawk said as he created 4 shadow clone Daten da Sakuryuhi and his shadow clonus each created a dragon made from the ground to attack his opponent. Crush crash boom. The Birdman effortlessly dodged each earth dragon as it ran up one towards the Hawk clonus. Peeler shot. Once again it threw its hair at the clonus, destroying them and forcing the real Hawk to pull a body replacement, but the Birdman followed his moves. With blinding speed he was inside Hawk's guard. Mixer punch. Thunk. From its fist drilled into Hawk's stomach before throwing him to the ground. Suten Kotsuken. Shark swung down a blade made entirely out of water onto the Birdman's back. This time he did leave a mark on the thing's back. "Arg," it said as it tried to reach its back. Instead it settled on grabbing Shark by the throat. "Kaiten Kezanbe," Keiko said as she expelled black smoke from her mouth. The smoke rushed towards the Birdman, who was distracted while holding Shark. "What the?" The Birdman looked around to see Keiko on the ground, her hands clasped firmly in the tiger position as the black smoke continued to expel from her mouth even post-mortem. "Hawk, send this bastard and me to hell," Shark yelled as loud as he could. "Kaiten Funjin Bakuhatsu," he thought as black dust leaked out of his mouth. "Kaiten Gakaryu." Hawk yelled as he shot a large stream of fire at the black dust cloud. Kaboom! The flame dragon injected the volcanic ash and explosive dust, creating a massive explosion that swallowed the Birdman, Shark and 10 meters around them. Hawk stared at the large mass of fire and smoke before him. Huff, huff, that's it, huff huff. Pyum! Suddenly a beam shot through the smoke and flames and pierced through Hawk's chest, killing him instantly. Hawk only had a look of disbelief on his face as he fell to the ground. Out of the inferno the Birdman walked, its body covered in soot. In his right hand he dragged an extremely burnt Shark. "Now where were we?" he asked Shark as he hoisted him up in the air. "Oh yeah, I was just about to finish you off." Before he could kill Shark, a new contender arrived on the battlefield. Kushina stared at the scene before her in absolute shock. There stood a strange creature covered in thick black fur. Its face had a long beak and what appeared to be circles where the eyes would be. It stood roughly at 7 feet tall, had 5 fingers and 4 toes, the Birdman. In its right hand it held a barely alive Shark in the air, clutching his throat tightly. She looked around and to her horror everyone else was dead. Aotora was crushed under 8 trees with a broken neck. Lycan was torn up to the point he was barely recognizable. Keiko had a hole through her stomach and out the back, and Ha had a similar hole in his gut along with a more refined and smoking hole through his chest. The creature turned its head to her. "Looks like someone else wants to play." Crunch sploosh! It squeezed its right hand tightly, completely destroying Shark's neck. Blood, flesh, bone and muscle went everywhere as the Anbu's head went into the air while his decapitated body fell to the ground. Thud! His head fell to the ground as the Birdman swung his open hand, making the remnants of neck spill onto the ground. Kushina gripped her katana tightly as she drew it from its sheath. Doom! Suddenly the image of a massive humanoid muscular demon with a cycloptic eye, 2 large horns on its head and sharp fangs appeared from the strange creature. The creature scared her. It was far more frightening than the Kyuubi. Granted, it seemed like it wanted to rip her to pieces and then eat her bit by bit. You didn't run from my intimidation? That's a first, the Birdman said as he began to walk towards Kushina. Consider my interest piqued. And guys, this is the end. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Peace.